Right, so just to give you a bit of an idea of how I actually set things up when I started my first build and was planning the build for the main section up top, what I did was just basically did a whole lot of roofs here, as I mentioned earlier. Quickest way and the cheapest way to actually set everything up, and the least destructive way as well. You see all these roofs are actually floating, is to just do roofs. So what I did here was worked out approximately how many squares I wanted to have, and I worked out what would be my central square and started building from here. Okay, so we're not going to go too much into the details here. What I've done is I've placed this floor out, and what I'll do is I'll build the beginning walls just to show you what I had in mind, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Okay, so what I've done here is put down the basic layout of what my intentions are for the floor, and the pillar that you'll see here in front of me is the intended flame altar. So what's actually going to happen is this floor plan will actually double, but I've only sort of got around about half of it set up, because what I'm intending to do with my little mud map here is just sort of get a bit of an idea of floor space and layout before I go and build up the top. And this is the preparation that I've done for that. I already had built up the top, and I'm just giving you a bit of an idea of how I worked it all out. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll put the basic walls up and I'll get back to you in a second. Alright, so we're just taking a look down from above there. You'll see just to my left hand shoulder there is the central pillar that I left there, which was intended to be where the flame altar is. So it's pretty much chopped in half right now. What I'm actually going to have is 4 of those separate cubes that go around the central cube flame altar. And my intention will be to do some rounded walls, which are a little bit difficult and will take a bit of finessing, but I'll give you a quick little run through on how I intend to do it, and we'll go and take a look at that right now and give you a bit better of an idea of what I'm actually on about. Alright, so we're back down the bottom now. Now what I actually had in mind for this, and this is where you can get really creative with the pieces that you've got available to you, is I was actually going to use some of these little 2-meter pieces here. One of the cool things about the building in this is that you can actually choose to have the snapping on and off. You'll see snapping the bottom right hand side of your screen there. Green is on, the other one is off. So what my intention was to do to make circles, and unfortunately this game does not have circles, is to do a bit of a pattern like this on both sides, and that'll give a little bit of a circle. And what I'll do is I'll quickly take you up top and give you a bit of an idea on what that looks like as a finished product. So after a bit of messing around and getting it all finalized, this is what we've come up with. Joining all of these little cubes together. And this is what it can look like on the inside. Now what you can do, if you really want to be finicky with it and you don't like those single cubes there and all the extra wasted space on the inside, is you can actually just delete all of those cubes that I've just deleted there and make it look a little bit nicer. I don't have time to mess around and do all that as yet. I might mess around and do it at some stage, but it's one of those little finicky jobs that's going to take a hell of a lot of time, and I already spend so much time doing so many other things on this build anyway. Now, the next intended thing that I wanted to get done on this build as well was actually to have some little towers to give that sort of gothic feel. Now, one of the things that I actually ended up doing, and you'll see just above me here, is I did some little cutouts. They're not perfect, but they make it look a little bit more interesting, I guess. And what I did is ended up placing a flame up on top there and making it look a little bit more interesting by doing so. And the other thing that you'll see just over my left shoulder here as well, which was a little bit of a pain in the butt to get done, is I made these little towers. I wanted to have some little lookout towers here, just for a little bit of something a little bit different in terms of a visual aspect. And this is what we've ended up doing. They don't come out looking perfectly round, but they're pretty good. So as you'll see here, they're a bit of a different building block, and the block that they are is metal block, which is a building block that you can unlock by exploring different parts of the map. As I'll mention throughout various times within playing this game, it's a bloody huge game, I'll tell you what. You can just build with basic stone if you want, or basic wood if you want, but there's a lot of other building blocks that you can actually unlock and equip. And I've gone through and unlocked quite a few of them, but there's still quite a few to go. Now, one of the other little things that we haven't taken a look at as yet is how I got the roofs done for this. Now, this is something that I actually ended up taking a look at down the bottom before I set everything up. Now, you'll see here, this is the central spire that I had set up down the bottom, as you'll see it on screen here. And what I did while I had everything set up down the bottom is I just did a quick little mud map and a quick little look at how I wanted to set up the roof while it was down the bottom, and potentially what it's going to look like. So I did a bit of a build to this height here to make sure that it would all look okay. And then I had further intentions as well, after doing that, to have a little jutting out section that I've done right here in front of me. And I haven't actually completed that on all four as yet. I've only got it done on just one of the sections. But to give you a bit of a look at what it looks like from a distance, and as I said, this is in no way complete as yet. It's still very much a work in progress, but that's giving you a bit of an idea on what it looks like from far back. Pretty cool. It's not really looking particularly gothic as yet, but I think once we get the central spire done, it'll take a little bit more shape and look a little bit cooler. But I don't mind it anyway, as we've got it thus far. Alright, well, there's a hell of a lot more building that needs to be done now to finalise the other two pillars on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll get onto those now, and next time what we'll do is take a look at some of the detailing that I've done above the front door. And it's something I mentioned really briefly when we were taking a look at the main hall. I had intentions possibly down there of doing some feature windows, and I come up with a bit of a pattern that I wanted to make as a bit of a theme for the base itself. What I'm intending to do is make that pattern above the main door just so it looks pretty cool, and it's, you know, you've got something a little bit interesting to look at as you come in, and gives you a bit more character as well. So as you'll see just above my head here, I haven't done any of those windows in between the two towers, but they'll get done at some stage. And I haven't done any further detailing other than those little cutouts on the curved surfaces that join the four sides of the main structure, but we'll get into that at some stage. And what I'll do now is go offline and I'll finish those four little outcrops and the other two pillars just to see how they look when it's all done, and make sure that they're all the way I want them looking. And then next time we'll catch up and take a look at what I've done with the front of the building and the little themed cutout above the main door. Alright, we'll see you then.